Hi everyone, Aggie here. So today I want to continue speaking about anxiety. In my previous video, I gave a little bit of explanation about anxiety. I want to dive a little bit deeper into the subject today. And one of the things that I wanted to go over with you is different reasons why we may feel anxious. Because I feel like understanding these different reasons allows us to address the type of anxiety we have in a much better way. Now, as I mentioned before, I have had a very fair amount of anxiety in my life until I started understanding what anxiety is and how I can deal with it. So in the previous video, I spoke about addressing anxiety that's there, that we don't necessarily have the ability to make a particular step on, such as come up with a solution about a problem that we're afraid of, right? But just a general feeling of fear inside, how to let these emotions through, how to gain acceptance and how to surrender to these emotions, which is key. Even if you do have a solution to a situation that you need to go towards, even then, that letting through part, that allowing of feelings, that moving through the energetical aspect of the emotion is extremely important. And part of the reason why it's so important, which is why I encourage you to watch the previous video, is because once we let the energetical aspect of it through, once we no longer feel intimidated by the signs of what anxiety is to us, but we simply let the energy through, solutions and enlightenment can come through immediately after. And it is actually usually the case that even though we may have had anxiety for 20, 25 plus or even 30 years, there could be this realization, this enlightenment towards what anxiety is that solves the problem in a flash. And when I say problem, I mean this relationship with anxiety itself, and it can be truly life-changing when that practice is mastered. So I highly encourage you to watch the first video if you haven't, and I believe I posted a meditation in there to go within and allow anxiety to flow through. In case I haven't, then I will post a meditation, let me know. But what I want to talk about today is different reasons anxiety could exist. And the reason why I want to go through this is because even if we do let emotion through, sometimes anxiety is calling us to action. And it could be different types of action anxiety is calling us to do. For instance, there's the obvious of fight or flight, right? We have this anxiety arise in us, and there could be something in front of us that's actually dangerous. We need to step back, we need to get away from it, or we need to fight it, right? So that's the classic case scenario of anxiety being a useful emotion to alert us of some type of danger to keep us alive, right? So because of that, and because of many other reasons, I actually developed a relationship with anxiety that when it hits me, I find it to be something to be grateful for and useful. But then I also understand that now there's something to do within myself to deal with that. So anxiety could come along because there's a life situation that is waiting for a solution. There's a type of anxiety that's sort of chronic, that's continuously there. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But first, I want to address the type of anxiety that's actually alerting you that you need to do something now. And I want you to recognize that, and the way to recognize it, I guess, is to practice and sort of even meditate on it and see, okay, what is this anxiety? If it's here to alert me on an action, what action is this towards? What is this anxiety trying to tell me? For instance, sometimes I have anxiety arise in me, the feelings of alert, and I immediately look into, okay, is this something that's calling me for action? Is there something I need to do about this right now? And sometimes it is in fact something I'm not even conscious of, but my internal system is somehow alerting me to it. For example, last week, interestingly enough, I had this anxiety arise in me, and I didn't know what it was about. And I said, okay, thank you for the alert. What is this? Let's go into it. So I meditate into it, and I go into different directions in life, and I see which way this is drawing me to. It happened to be that I forgot a tax bill, and when I said, oh my God, I totally forgot this bill, I paid that bill, the anxiety was gone. So I understand this is a little bit in a spiritual direction, because I wasn't conscious of why this feeling, this discomfort was arising in me, but I asked the question and I got the answer. I took care of the problem and I thanked the anxiety. Okay, it alerted me before something else would happen that's even worse, right? So there are situations when anxiety is in fact calling us to immediate action, such as when we have to fly from a situation that's dangerous, right? Like literally dangerous. We need to step away from a car, or we need to step away from someone who we have weird feelings about that we feel may harm us, right? So there are situations when anxiety is calling us to action now. And I want you to recognize that. So next time you have anxiety, one of the things I want you to do is meditate on it a little bit. And ask the question, is this calling me to action here and now? Is this something that I can step towards, that I can control? Is this feeling of discomfort telling me that I need to take action towards something? Then be grateful for it. Meditate on it. What is it? What is that life situation I need to step toward and resolve? And then thank the anxiety. Be grateful for your body's alert system and say, okay, this is enough. I don't need to feel more of it because I got the message. And by the way, this way, your level of discomfort can be kind of reduced, because I would say that once you sort of made this agreement with your body that, okay, this is the sensation, I get it. And let's calm it down and let's go towards the solution if there's something you can do about this here and now. Now, another source of anxiety could also come from the fact that you are not in touch with your internal guidance system, which means, this is very similar to this previous scenario that I just described, your body is alerting you that the direction you're taking in life, and this could be in different areas of life, this could be multiple areas of life, this could be in one area of life, you're not taking soul-aligned, intuitive steps. So you could actually have chronic anxiety if you're not paying attention what your heart and soul is calling you towards. This is kind of like, let's say, and again, I don't want to take this on a too much of a spiritual route, but I don't know if I can explain it without speaking of the soul or your heart's calling, something that you feel deep within you are called to do. And there's many even small decisions, even during the day, when your soul and heart is calling you towards the best possible action for you. It's calling you towards something. If you don't get in touch with that, if you don't begin to listen, and if you don't know how to listen yet, then this is a perfect time to start practicing and establishing that routine, because oftentimes we are raised up to listen to logic only, to listen to instruction, to listen to someone else's opinion on someone else's instructions. So this may be a little bit of a journey to switch over to this internal guidance system, but what I encourage you to do is that if you don't operate from this heart-centered, joy-rooted space within yourself and your connection to that soul space, let's call it soul space, but you could call this anything as long as it feels this is how I can listen to myself. If you're not listening, if you're not connected to that, if you're disconnected, anxiety will be showing itself because it's trying to alert you to take a new direction. So chronic anxiety could be due to the fact that Just like, previously I was talking about an immediate call to action, like it's time to do something, you're forgetting about something, something is important, you're anticipating something, you're feeling this is something you need to do, make a step towards. This is similar. This is kind of higher internal guidance system communicates with you that something is off, right? So if you're not following that soul's calling, and maybe you're grinding away in a direction that isn't really truly your soul's calling, if you're doing something that isn't truly fulfilling that space, again, this could be any area of life. This could be because you're in the wrong relationship. This could be because you're in the wrong career. This could be because you are surrendering to somebody that your soul doesn't desire, doesn't want to surrender to, or doesn't call you to surrender to. Let's call it calling, okay? Calling. You're not following that calling, and it could be daily actions, even small actions, right? What the type of diet you want to be on, if you want to relate it to our workout group, right? If you're not listening, it's going to get louder and louder and louder, and it's going to produce these feelings that are uncomfortable because it's trying to call your attention. So again, what I would tell you, anxiety is a gift as long as you see it in a correct way. And the second you have the ability to connect to it and listen to what it's trying to tell you, kind of like a crying child. This is our inner child crying. You could even visualize it that way. Your inner child is crying and is trying to tell you something. It's going to cry louder and louder and louder. And the more it's deprived, the more empty that space inside is going to feel. So I want you to take anxiety as the gift of guidance that your body is trying to get you to connect. What is this? What is it trying to bring attention to? And I find the type of anxiety, and this is the third category that I would like to speak about, when you do have you don't have control. In these cases, you have a certain level of control, right? When your anxiety is there, and in my personal opinion, there's always some hidden calling in your soul that you're probably not following when you're feeling anxiety. However, there are points when something scary happens in our life, and we have done our best, and we simply cannot make peace with the fact that something has taken place. So in this case, anxiety could be related to mourning something that, for example, we have lost and we cannot get back. Now in this case, this is the scenario when I tell you, even though you can ask yourself, and I suggest this is the first step you do, what is my best here? What is the best I can do with this situation as it is? How I can make lemonade out of these lemons that I got in life, even if they don't feel like lemons. You got something, how can you make something better of it? What is the growth experience? What is the learning experience that comes in what seems like a difficult situation at first? So this is the first question you should ask. However, after, if you're mourning something and you feel sad, which is completely normal, this is the time when, again, you want to go back into that meditation and just let the feelings flow as they are. This is always actually the first step. Even if you can't control the situation, even if you do feel that there is a call to action, the first step is always let it through. And then ask the question, is there something really to be done here? Or is this something where you're just simply letting the energy flow? And like I said, if you truly are ready to let that energy flow through you, whatever it is, and what I tell you, and I told you in a previous video too, when you feel the energy, locate the actual feeling in your body. When you start feeling whatever emotion arises, and in the previous video I brought up eating a hot pepper, right? Really surrendering to the sensation of it. Whatever sensation this feeling, quote unquote, brings, begin surrendering to it and completely allow it as it is. Now, When you do that, start focusing on where in your body you actually feel it physically. And what is that physical sensation? Because it's going to be manifesting on your physical body as a physical sensation. That's how you recognize it. Otherwise, you simply wouldn't recognize it. Allow the thought of what triggered the anxiety to slip away sort of, and begin really just focusing on the physical sensation of the feeling, and allow it to flow. Allow it to simply flow and go where it needs to go as long as it wishes to go. Allow yourself to simply feel the sensation. Don't fight it. Don't try to make it go away. Completely surrender to it. And there is a point where the sensation simply cannot go any higher. If a worst case scenario that you're afraid of pops into your mind, allow the sensations in relation to that to begin flowing as well. Keep letting them flow. If another worst case scenario pops into your mind that you're afraid of, begin sensing that too. Where in your body do you feel it? Allow it to fully come through. Surrender to it completely. Take deep breaths as you do this, and fully surrender to the feelings and sensations. And let them flow all the way to the point where they seem to just lose power. If you're still feeling them, they have not yet lost the power, so just allow them to keep flowing. Don't fight it. Your goal is to go to the heights of it, to go as high as you can, so then it can start dissipating. And you can keep going down. If your mind is fighting you with thoughts of worst case scenario situations, allow the emotional and physical sensations to come through in relation to that, and surrender to that too. Keep going until it cannot go any further. This is key. And if it gets hard, breathe through it, meditate through it. It's a physical sensation. Let it rise where it wishes. Completely surrender. And just keep taking deep breaths through the process. And as you do this, there's going to be a point where you feel that it's time to act. This is one scenario where there's actually an action necessary that this anxiety is calling you towards. Or if you have already taken all the actions that are in your control, this is the time when this anxiety is no longer serving you, and you can let it slip away through this process, through this meditation. If you take the action, again, the anxiety is allowed to slip away because it has done its job. But I want you to start doing. I want you to begin looking at anxiety as a gift, as your body's alert system that you need to go within and you need to process something. Perhaps you even need to take action. Look at it as a gift. And once that gift has done its job because you have listened and you paid attention, now you can allow it to slip through and go through. And if there's no actions left, you can say, okay, I've done my best. Now I can go back into the state of joy, enjoying life as is, being in the moment. Okay, ladies? Okay, everyone, let's put it this way. So if you have questions about this, please make it in the comments. Put it down in the comments. I would love to hear your questions. If you would like me to make another video answering a question, please ask it here in the comments. I would absolutely love to hear from you. And of course, if at any point you would like to have an Akashic Records reading from me, which is what I do, I've been doing for quite some time, for a few years now, let me know and we can arrange an appointment for that as well. But I'm waiting for your questions, I'm waiting for your comments, and whatever you would like me to make my next video on, let me know. I will see you next time. Take care.